Hi, Janine. How are you doing?
Good, much better. Thanks. How are you doing?
Well, I'm feeling a little bit off color today, so I'm
Oh,
dosing myself up with all my natural medicines, and I'm sure that
okay.
will do the job. But you mentioned about the moon, and I think that's probably part of the reason.
Well, it was definitely a tough moon. It's over now. It's moved into Aries, which is really good for me anyway. Some people really react well and get really creative on Pisces moon. So I'm not saying Pisces people are wonderful, by the way, and it's nothing against anything. It's just sometimes certain moons can really bring up different things in different people. And for me, it always plummets me, the Pisces moon, into all my fears. And I, of course, try to stay really aware of, I'm not trying to avoid negativity, by the way. Some people accuse me of that. No, but I'm definitely not trying to manifest those fears. So, but the Pisces moon, it's hard to avoid. All your darkest corners will come up. And I know we need to heal those and shine light on them. I get that. But when you have 3 days of it solid where you're in that place, it's a little tough. So for me, I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel like I've been through a bit of a marathon this week with lots of stuff coming up, but luckily passing over, we've had a gorgeous day here today and everything, and hopefully we're going to get some good news.
Yeah.
So loads of different subjects as always. Must tell everyone, I listened to just before we started, you've just posted a video on your tarot by Janine about the various different camps in different countries. So that's a really, really important one for everyone to go and listen to, because I was going to ask some questions about that tonight, but you've covered it beautifully in your video. So everyone go watch that one. It's really good. Yeah.
So many people writing me with FEMA camp type of like spotting these camps and hearing about them.
Yeah, we've got quite a few in the UK, and after the John O'Looney interview, I think a lot of people were, sort of very worried about it. So it's really important everyone listens to that video, and hopefully you'll feel a lot better about things after you do. So on that note, on the same things, my first question for tonight is, yesterday in London, some of the really important lawyers, ex-policemen. So we had Mark Sexton, the brilliant ex-policeman. We had John O'Looney, the funeral director, the amazing, amazing Professor Dolores Cahill, brilliant lawyer Anna de Dr. Sam White, Dr. Tessa Lawrie. So a really brilliant group. I think it was about 16 of them met in London with one of the top Conservative MPs. And the purpose of that meeting was to give a lot of evidence from a legal and medical point of view to try and halt the rollout of the you-know-what. So my first question for the cards is that meeting, is that group going to get anywhere with their trying to stop the rollout? It's a fantastic team of people to get together. I'd love to have been in that room.
That's representing them. So they're bringing all kinds of stories and news about the harm it's causing. That was the people they were meeting with. And now this is interesting. This is my positive integral army card. I wonder if they weren't necessarily meeting with actually who they said they were meeting with, or were the people they were meeting with actually have been infiltrated and are working on the behalf of these guys, because that doesn't look like MPs, dark cult, deep state MPs that we know, are rolling this thing out.
Wow.
Yeah, that's weird, right? So this card's in the middle, moving out of troubled water. That's actually the atmosphere. So there was a lot of information exchanged and a positive shift in something. So that looks really good. And this is your soon to see positive changes. So I'm not sure they were meeting with who they said they were. Something happened in secret. Something happened in secret that's going to really, they've been working on something in secret together that's not ready to get shown to everybody yet. I think a lot of what you're seeing with what appears to be could be part of the movie. I mean, it sounds crazy, but every time I look at things lately, it's not what it appears.
Yeah.
things aren't what they appear.
So hope they're not. My t-shirt, I have to show it, that says it all, never again. That's what I feel, never again.
Yeah, that's cute. I like it.
We're going to sort it out properly this time, people, so it never comes back to haunt us again. So that's generally showing that's going to have a good outcome then.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, fantastic. Keep up the good works, because they really are doing such amazing, amazing work, these people. I think the level they're pouring their heart, soul, every hour of every day into it. And I think we should be so grateful for heroes like this. I know we're not meant to use the word hero, but, you know, people that really are standing up for everyone.
Real heroes.
Real heroes.
Real ones.
Absolutely amazing. So
I love that. Sorry.
Sorry, carry on. Yeah.
I just wanted to say I love the interview you did with him, with that funeral director. The only thing and maybe he's doing this on purpose, but he leaves out, what I think he lays out is the actual original plan.
Yeah.
Because he leaves out, you know, obviously, if there was any good guys working on the behalf of humanity, he didn't mention that. Okay, so that's interesting that now he's meeting with what I think might be the alliance.
Yeah, absolutely.
So either they hear what he's doing and they're bringing him on board, or he's doing that on purpose because somebody has to speak to what the plan was.
Exactly. It's fun.
And he really does. He really does.
Yeah, thank you. I agreed. I mean, one, he was so genuine, you know, when you were speaking to him, he's passing on. And what was so interesting is this has all been a horrible shock for him, because he wasn't sort of part of the truther community. He was basically going what he was seeing and feeling with his own eyes. And this leads nicely into the one of my next questions. So there's a whistleblower, I'll jump about a bit. So there's a whistleblower that has just come out again from China. I won't even try and pronounce her name because I'll butcher it. But basically, she is now saying, and I think this has come out before, but she's reiterating the fact that the CV thing that's been going about was intentionally released in October 19 at the World Military Games. Now that ties in very closely, because John O'Looney said the first temporary morgue, you know, isolation unit in a hospital in the UK he saw was in November 19, before any of this had been announced. So how on earth did the hospitals know to set up for that in November 19 when it wasn't even released, announced for a couple of months? So can we ask the cards whether that Chinese whistleblower is right and there was something released at the World Military Games in October? Okay,
so this is really interesting because there's been a whole bunch of things released today, or seem to have come into the vision of, you know, sort of circulating around on social media today, that there's all kinds of evidence. Of course, we've known this, of course, we know there's evidence, but there's all kinds coming out that it was plainly, like there's whistleblowers saying all the government and hospitals knew about this.
Yeah.
In exactly when they're saying in that release that you were just talking about. This was planned, and I think that's the next big awareness that they're putting out, how planned it was, which of course we've all known because we did the research, but and we've been talking about it for a couple of years. But these guys planned it so many years ago, and everything was already put in place, including those FEMA camps, or
absolutely,
going to be camps for who knows what nefarious things, but they all got absconded by the good guys. That's every time I look at one, that's what happened.
It's really interesting as well, Janine, because in you know, October, November 19, lots of us got ill over here. I only know that people around us is ill. But of course, we all recovered fine because we all thought it was just the normal flu. So I can remember my son was really unwell for a few weeks and ended up having to go to the doctor, and he never goes to the doctor. But because there was no panic, everyone just did what they normally do, you know, rest, take vitamin C, vitamin D and zinc, and they all recover. So it definitely rings true to me.
It was released at a really big function that year. And that would have been where people from all over the world were joining. Well, that makes sense. To that one. Wow. Okay, but it looks like the good guys knew it was going to be released. So that's really weird. Okay, there was already it even got taken down a lot of notches.
Yeah.
Like somehow they managed to manage it. I think a lot more people would have got sick if it was entirely just left at the original plan. So this was known by good and the bad guys, but the good guys knew the moves.
Yeah.
And of course, they had already planned counter moves to utilize the lockdowns for their own stuff.
Yeah.
Right, which we've known for a long time, all of the cleaning out areas where activities are going on underground, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, wow.
You do
Yeah,
need
so
to-
it was planned for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you've only got to see, you can really see in hindsight how you have to keep people off the streets to be able to do quite a lot of these activities. Otherwise, it would just be complete chaos. So, yeah. Okay, now, back in sort of the early parts of the, when American Mr. T was still officially in power, he had the Mickey really taken out of him by talking about, natural cures like injecting bleach and things. And everyone took the Mickey out of him. He didn't actually say that. They twisted it. I can't remember what his exact words were.
Yeah.
But can we ask whether when he was talking about the bleach, whether he was actually talking about, I'll have to say this separately so it doesn't get picked up, chlorine dioxide. It's natural, obviously a natural solution that lots of people, in fact, I've got it here as we speak. So is that what he was trying to hint? Because he's been giving so many disclosures about the natural remedies.
Yep. Yeah, and he does seem to know a lot about, he's got a lot of strength in the area of natural remedies.
Yeah.
So that's Mr. T card. And that's, he was bringing ancient knowledges and deep, well known remedies, really. Because the strength card, something's been tested or looked at over and over again, or stood the test of time. If you're asking a question like that, you got the strength card.
Yeah.
So naturopathy type. Yep. And that you're right. He was getting that word out there.
Yeah.
And it did really, a lot of people picked up on that, and a lot of people went and got themselves some of that. And when you said your son got sick way before things came out about and the lockdowns all started to happen, everybody in our household just before the lockdown had a week-long, so the boys, so at that time I had my son's friend living with us as well. So I had an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old, and both of them got really sick, and they never, like, one and then the other. So I knew, and I was thinking, oh, it's a flu.
Yeah.
So they both ended up in bed for a few days, but maybe 3 days. So that's healthy young men who take good care of themselves. So 3 days. And I remember I was feeling like I could have got it, but I absolutely mentally, every morning for about 3 mornings, I'd wake up and it felt like something was overtaking me. It was weird. It was different than anything else I've ever felt, but I was so conscious of it, and I would tell it, no, we're not doing that. And I'm too busy for that, and get lost. And I would get up, take a bunch of vitamins and carry on. And then it never really took me down.
Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love these disclosures. It's been all the way through. Mr. T has been telling us and pointing us at the natural remedies and everything. They've been doing everything to shut them down. Now, the next question, where is the abominable Klaus Schwab?
Oh,
not heard anything from him, have we? Or seen anything, which is a delight. We're really pleased we haven't, but where is he?
Okay, he was taken and he's under some kind of lockdown. He was surprised. I feel like somebody came and surprised him, and these are like my positive army kind of card or military. And and they suddenly, so they surprised him. And so he's hidden somewhere, or he's being kept somewhere. We're
Great.
not supposed to know where.
Good. I don't want to.
Don't
I
get
just
to
hope
know
they
where.
keep him there. Don't let him
We're
out.
going to deal with him later. He's not been processed.
Yeah, good. You keep him away. Keep him under lock and key. Thank you very much. We don't want him back. This is a question from Kelly, one of the listeners. When everything comes out into the open, hopefully very soon, how are they going to convince people to trust people when there's been puppets, masks, actors, etc.? So it's going to be an interesting one. Any clues the cards can give us in terms of how they're going to get over that issue of just like, well, you've been deceiving us too?
Yep. This is funny. It's kind of funny. Okay, so they're going to use patience, and they're going to use a lot of maybe even insights and or stories from the positive military about what's been going on in the background. Maybe those people are going to actually come out and talk about the whole operation. Okay, and the Wheel of Fortune. So change, and things will change so fast. Here's the outcome for the better of humanity, and looks so much better that we're going to be absolutely ready for the good stuff to start. I think it'll become too obvious, and it'll be so obvious that the darkness has been annihilated. Once you hear about what they've been up to and then how they were dealt with, I feel like it'll be so obvious, the energy shift, that we'll be ready to accept positivity. That's what it looks like. But they're going to be patient with us and bring out all kinds of stories directly from people that were involved in the operative.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think there'd be such a universal relief globally that people will just jump at, I think, and grab it with both hands, you know, because it's just going to be such a relief, isn't it? So okay, so we have got a big date supposedly coming up in America this Friday, the 24th, with the release of a place beginning with A, the recount that they've been doing. So can we ask the cards whether that's going to show the honest situation or not? Is it going to show that the truth's going to come out?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. Yes. Yep. Yeah. All of a sudden, things take a totally different, very quickly, different direction. And then the Wheel of Fortune was in the background. So all of a sudden, it shifts everything. That shift we've been waiting for. Oh my God! Now it starts moving in the Patriots direction. And what'll happen is a lot of people's, all the fearful people are going to be they're going to be afraid, because all of a sudden their entire narrative and what they thought was true crumbles. We've already known that the world's not what we thought it was. They don't know that.
no.
My parents don't know that. A lot of my family members, almost all of them, don't know that. They have no idea. They might be picking up on something weird's going on, and isn't this weird, but they're not really, and they're not discussing it among themselves. And they're also really in denial. I think it's just on the edge of everybody's consciousness though. So I think a lot of people will really it'll really push all their buttons, right? Because they're going to be defensive, and because they have been foolish.
Yeah, absolutely.
People that have been upholding, actually asking for, you want to hear a crazy story? Yes. I personally know somebody who owns a place of business, okay? And I won't say where it is, but I'm sure this is happening everywhere, who hasn't had the you-know-what, but believes, even though a lot of people have tried to tell her, you do not need to do this, okay? Because a mandate is not a law, but believes that she has to enforce checking for other people's papers, okay, but hasn't had the thing herself and refuses to get it, but actually, so she's in conflict every single day because she owns a business. Okay. You know what I highly recommend people do, just to wake these people up as much as I'm, at least she has the right idea, not getting it herself, but don't ask other people for their papers. Don't be discriminatory. And then if I was at a place like that, you know what I would say? And I think everybody should do this. When somebody asks you for your papers to get in somewhere, say, I want everybody's papers in this place.
Yeah.
Everybody in particular, everybody, and even who cleans it.
Yeah.
And who comes in here to pick up stuff and take stuff out of here. Everybody, show me everybody's, I'll show you mine.
Yeah.
You want mine? You show me yours.
I
and
love
everybody
that.
who works here.
I'll show you.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It is interesting. I've not been asked for any of that anywhere, but we're waiting to see sort of what does happen. So if this 24th, we've had loads of people, we've had that other politician, I can't remember his name, in Australia, we've had General Flynn, we've had Sidney Powell, we've had a lot of people coming out and saying that, the end of this week, we really are going to start to see something, and it's all resting on what we've just talked about. So is it really, we also had the stories last week, didn't we, that they were going to do the EBS last week and there was some sort of deal made. So is it really, are we really going to start to see some disclosure over the next week?
Whoa. Okay. Wild. Some kind of like the whole narrative just blows up. There's a blowing up of the narrative. And this is like becoming naked to the world. So the narrative becomes naked to the world. That's what we need. We need the whole thing exposed because it's gone too far. When they're asking for your papers and there's actually people willing to uphold that, even though they don't even have them themselves.
Yes.
Does that even make any sense? That's why we need to question everybody and call them up on their BS.
Yeah,
right? Even
absolutely.
if you did get the what, and you do have, you shouldn't be showing it, and you should be asking everyone to show theirs if you have to show yours. Like, it just point out the ludicrousy of the whole thing. Is that a word?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay, good.
Spell it then.
Yeah, so it's gonna, the whole narrative gets blown up somehow.
Oh,
thank goodness. So we need that.
Just in time for your house party. You're going to be busy. You're going to be full. You're going to be full. Everyone can swarm in.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, dress the cats up and make sure they've got caviar. So, oh my God, that's such a relief. Just take that in, everyone. Come on now. We can all really influence it by making sure that's the timeline we're all manifesting, okay? So we're not accepting anything else but that happening at all. So in the UK, we have had a few energy companies go bust this week. And there's gas prices around the world are massively going up, and they're saying that this is going to be huge problem heating places over the winter, sort of globally. But the UK seems to have completely crashed on the energy side of things. Now, what I can't work out, because I'm seeing different stories from different sides of things, again, are the good guys or the bad guys in charge of this? Because it looks pretty ominous, but I'm hoping there's a twist.
Okay, so there's the crashing of the old ways to make room for the new. So there might be a new energy system coming. It's not all the way here, so there's still work to do on that. Okay, it'll go right to the 11th hour where it really feels like things are getting really bad, and then there's you get led in on the new system. So it feels very similar to the money system, only the money system feels like it already got put in place underneath the other system. So this feels like there's going to be a little bit of of shuffling, where you might have a few months where you do experience that.
Yeah.
Either not having as much energy available, or
Yeah.
you're literally paying way too much for it. But then it all shifts for the better. So there's a breakthrough, but it happens after some hardship around it. It'll come right to the feel like the 11th hour on that. So it's gonna, yeah, it feels like there's still some, because this is a 70% card. So they're not as ready with that new energy system as they were with the money system. I feel like that'll be smoother, the money transition, but this transition might have a few bumps.
Yeah. Okay. So stock up with some, whatever you've got for the, keep yourselves warm and keep your animals warm over the winter sort of thing. So the next question, is, I don't know if you've done a reading on this in the past. Have you ever done a reading on Prince, the pop star?
Yeah, I channeled him, and he this was early days before we knew any of this stuff and before the lockdowns. Channeled him a couple of years ago, and he did seem to basically say he had left the earth plane. But since then, I'm thinking maybe, because a lot of them said that, I'm thinking they weren't ready to let us in on the truth. He did say something really funny, which was he really liked what his sister had done with the place. So that it seemed like a code to me. Now in retrospect, there might have been a code to that. But anyway, I don't know if he really did leave. So let's look. Let's ask him.
Ask whether he did. I loved him. I used to go and watch him in concert. Oh, he's amazing.
It was pretty weird. You know, the whole story of how he left was a bit weird.
Very odd. Very, very odd.
Okay, we're going to hear from him again. So if he did leave, it was maybe off planet and he's coming back, or he left his old life. That could be another way. Like, cards are funny, right? He did leave his old life because he left how he was living in his estate, and they have to recreate themselves. So it is like leaving. So we did leave, and he's coming back. This is the near future after something happens. So there's going to be a lot of hurt and angst, and then he comes back. So that feels like it's already happening to me.
Yeah.
I know there's people always write me and they say, okay, how could there be good guys? Because there's people dying. Okay. In wars, people do leave and or choose to leave, and in life they do. Okay. And what I say is there'd be a lot more, and the whole human race would be wiped out if it was up to the bad guys. So if this is how the good guys, the only way they thought they could get this bunch in hand, then we gotta, you know, that's, you're gonna have casualties in war of any kind. And and I'm not condoning that, but I'm also saying, be realistic. Like, you can't fight a dark cult that's thousands of years enslaved the human race and spiritually pillaging, and I could say other words, but we won't say them, and doing heinous things without having some, there's going to be some difficulty to that. It's not going to be a cinch. Okay. Or we'd have done it a long time ago. Come on, use your common sense.
And also, I think everyone, you know, I think for me, it's never a time more than for us all to take personal responsibility, because at a conscious or a subconscious level, everyone on the planet has been allowing these things to go on, because at some level we've seen things in our society that have not been dealt with, perhaps because they're not affecting you personally and everything. And, you know, I always say to go back to people and say, take a look at your own lives and what you have and what steps you're doing first, before throwing those bricks at others, because I don't think there's anyone that, you know, couldn't have done more along the range. And over in the UK, certainly, we're really seeing a huge observance. Now they're coming for the younger children. Well, it's taken this long. It's taken them to come for the young children, for most people to get off their backsides and actually do something. And you know, I think we've got to have a good long look at ourselves and sort of say, never again, you know, never again will we let it. Oh, beautiful.
Rufus, that's the big old guy.
He is a stunner. Oh my gosh.
We don't need your back end there, buddy.
Oh, we do love it. They always love showing their back ends. My pumpkin does as well. He is absolutely stunning, isn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of like a big, he looks more like a tiger when you look right at his face.
Absolutely stunning. Love ginger cats. I had a big ginger cat called Wilbur, and every night I used to call out, "Where's my ginger Willie?" So, oh, he's gorgeous. So, okay, that's absolutely fantastic. We really want Prince back. We really do. I've seen more in the news today about the La Palma volcano. Now, I know you've covered quite a lot about this. I think it was with Jean-Claude, wasn't it? In one of yours and everything. But is there anything else that the cards want to tell us about that situation? Or Rufus, what do you want to say about that? I love it.
What are you going to tell us about it, Rufus?
You're going to say, you are so handsome. Coco would love you. He does like it.
Oh, this is how I get her attention. I just walk in front of that thing she's looking at. Okay. So 3, 7. Huh. Interesting. I wonder if this was set off by somebody. And that's, I've read a few things, but this is kind of looking like that. Okay. Okay, Rufus, catch you later. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this could have been set off by somebody. Once again, though, like I'm sure they've got equipment that could actually start. I mean, they've been manipulating things for, you know, hundreds of years, but it looks like, it still looks like it gets, it doesn't make it all the way to, because this card says it's going to get stopped. It's going to get stopped. What they're trying to do is, or whoever set that off, doesn't look like it's good people, to be honest.
Yeah.
The intention was the 3 of Swords, so they wanted to hurt people. I feel like, so it might have already been set up to go off, right? You know how these things are, they set them up a long time ahead. They probably plan these weather things way ahead, and then have them just booby trapped, ready to go at various, you know, times. And of course, we know timing's really important. Dates are important.
Yeah.
So the date but it never did that already. It even the crescendo of it was less than people were expecting.
Yeah.
And this is what's been happening to all their plans. I feel like they got stifled.
Yeah. So it goes ahead to a certain amount, because the poor people in La Palma, I think a lot of people have obviously had their houses destroyed, but it's not as bad as it could have done.
5 of Pentacles is they've had, so the people who planned it had it went about half is what they wanted it to.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, good. Thank goodness for that. So fingers crossed, sending everyone who's affected by that directly.
Yeah, and look at, I pulled 2 more 5s to clarify. So they're disappointed and angry at how it's probably been sabotaged to, you know, a degree that they could sabotage it or toned it down somehow. I don't know. It's wild how they, this whole thing's, it's like just you're watching all these chess moves, I guess, and really, I think that's really what we're doing.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, amazing. So in terms of now, how should I ask this one? In terms of the lessons that sort of generally speaking humanity have learned over this period, can we ask the cards whether we've learned what we needed to from this experience?
I like that
as humanity.
We got a ways to go.
Yeah.
We got a ways to go. We got a ways to go. I think the biggest lesson now might be, and what we need to quickly learn, is to be inclusive and not exclusive. We need to remember the big lesson now is to include, not exclude. So don't have sections in a restaurant. The outdoors is for the you know what, and the indoors is for the people with papers. Like, we need to be careful that we're not excluding people for health choice reasons. Okay, because that's as bad as different separate bus systems for different colored people, like they did in the past, and for how they treated the Chinese in Canada and the US over the situation, or no, it was the Japanese, they did that too. Like, just horrifying. Well, they've often treated the Chinese people in Canada and the US badly too, by the way. And or Indigenous peoples all over the world, always separately treated. And then now, most recently, really alienating white people.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so they've been pitting people against each other, and this, all of it, if you look back, I bet you will find the dark cult was at the base of everything. All of the things I just pointed out, they've probably been at the base of it. And their most recent attack is on the white folks. That's all. Nobody's excluded, everybody. And by the way, a lot of slavery happened to white people as well, in particular Irish, actually, apparently. Absolutely. So wow, I mean, but all over the world, like, it's been happening since the beginning of time. People have been pitted against each other. So now we know who's been at the bottom of it all. Yeah, we need to band together and find how we're alike and not alike. None of that stuff matters, and that includes what you choose to do with your body self.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it does feel like we've got, you know, sort of a few lessons learned, but we can learn those very quickly. And let's hope over the next few weeks we're going to have a bang of quick lessons to learn, and that we're going to take it all on board and be a lot better for it. So moving forward, in terms of once we've had the disclosure, will there in quite a few places in the sort of, let's call it the developed world, will there be almost like a stepping back away from technology into more simple ways of living? And I hope
I think there will be, for a short amount of time. So this guy is very simple and careful, and this card is temporary setbacks and through difficulty. So while we're sorting out, because there's this card here and this, so this card says we're going to step back while we're sorting out what we don't want to do again going forward, and looking through you know, okay, what went wrong over here? What was wrong with all these big tech companies? Because they, how did they get so much power where now they're more important than humans?
Yeah.
How did the government get away with this? Okay, so we're going to look at that. And I think while those things are getting looked at and sorted out, I think we'll be probably doing things differently and not going forward. But then I feel like that'll come to an end, and a lot of new technologies that are already likely in the works that are very unique, and maybe even from other like, now that if we know that and we're all going to soon know, I think, that they're otherworldly. We've been dealing with them for eons. Maybe they've even lived among us since the beginning of time. Maybe some of us even are part that.
Exactly.
Whatever we end up knowing about our history and selves, because everything's not been told to us properly. So once we know all of that, I think we'll probably end up inheriting or being more open to, or being able to share technologies that we didn't even have access to before. Remember, we've been repressed, and then maybe we could even shoot forward and go way ahead. That's what it feels like.
Amazing. Because I must say, I've got a secret desire that we're going to return back more of a family unit, family van, because so many people over the last year have looked at perhaps home educating their children more, being much more involved as a family unit. Perhaps if there are two parents involved, one of them being lucky enough to stay at home and things. So I think it would be interesting to see if we sort of nurture that family. I mean, even now, I'm not quite sure how it's happening, but even now, where we live, if you drive out during the day, there still seems to be a lot of sort of couples out together, whereas before the lockdown, you'd never see it because everyone was in work in offices and things.
Yep.
Like you wouldn't see any of the fathers around or anything like that, or half the time you wouldn't see the mothers. And now there still seems to be a lot of people out in couples and things. So something's shifted still. I don't know whether they're all working from home and able to go out for a walk or something, but there's definitely, you'd never have seen that a couple of years ago, which is really exciting. So, okay, brilliant. So my final question is just a bit of a general one. Is there anything that the cards need us to know at this crucial stage of time now? Because it could be quite an exciting couple of weeks.
So this card's like, you are safer and closer to breakthrough than you think, even though you don't see it. We're so close to a breakthrough. It's like when I got a message from, who was it from? Oh, General Patton. So I channeled General Patton in one of the Jean-Claude shows. And what he said was, okay, we're like digging a tunnel and we get so tired and we're just sick of the whole process. And we're almost like, if you could see from the outside how close you were to breaking through to the place you wanted to get to, you give up, just like shovels full away from breaking through. That's what it kind of feels like here. We're so close. We don't even, like, we know a little bit about what's happening, but there's so much more to be revealed. We're so close. We're feeling really disappointed. We wanted to know by now. We feel like we've been held up. And according to these cards, everything's right on time. And the outcome's this card. So I feel like coming right up is going to be when we become aware that this guy really won, and that all the, think about the dominoes that starts off. Okay, so now all your governments, certainly starting in the US, are actually against the humans, and they would be willing to do that. Okay, so illegally do that, and they've probably done it for many, many, many of those competitions in the past. Okay, so once that gets seen to the public, then a lot of what Mr. T's been saying will become apparent to people that must be true, even though they resisted it. And the mainstream media will look absolutely egg on their face, bold-faced liars. The whole lockdowns will be obviously a huge farce. Like, it'll just expose a whole lot of, it'll just be the beginning of the exposure, as far as I'm concerned, where these guys are left totally naked. And we're all going to see them for who they are. It's like the veil drops then.
Yeah. And it's on so many levels, isn't it, Janine? Because I think once it starts happening, I think there's a lot of people that are no longer going to trust their doctors. They're no longer going to trust their hospitals. I mean,
it's so obvious what they've been up to, and they've been in on it. We're going to realize everybody was in on this. All of these, that's why this week they've been, it's all been coming out who's in on it. All of these whistleblowers are coming out. They've been waiting to put this out. And don't forget, we just had an election.
I couldn't believe
I knew it was going to be fake right from the get-go. And I said, okay, somebody you're not going to like is going to get in. It'll be fake. It's just so obvious. It's a big signal. The guys at the spa, you guys, he's not even, okay. And interesting, he just put a woman, okay, in charge if something happened to him. He just named this woman. Okay. What I kept getting was a woman would end up leading being the next leader. So if something happens to him, so say he gets rounded up, let's hope it's weekend. I mean, officially in front of people. I'm not, he already got rounded up, you guys. This is all a facade. And that's what I got. The whole, when my son told me, you won't believe who won, Mom. I was like, whatever, tell me, because it didn't even faze me. I was like, yeah, whatever. We knew that.
Exactly.
We knew they were going to fake, like it's so up. And it was really interesting that leading up to it, there were so many stories about how he was getting run out of towns and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, why did you think those were circulating? Because they're preparing to tell you, well, how did he get in then if everybody hates his guts? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, it's not making sense, folks.
I know. Oh, well, we keep saying a big week. It is big week. People, this is the time to keep resilient. Dose yourself up with meditation, walks in nature, hugs with friends, all your natural remedies, your sage, and most importantly, our cats. And yeah, just enjoy it, because hopefully then we're going to start seeing some quick turnarounds. Thank you so much. Always so exciting. It's always so interesting when you look back at the questions and everything. It's just like, my gosh, you know, who'd have thought that you and I would be talking about this huge range of global topics. I mean, it's really quite comical. In my family, it's quite comical that I even know about half these things. So it is hysterical how far we've come.
Yeah, it's totally wild. And I just want to remind everybody, stand up for your human rights. And if you see somebody being discriminated against, what we have to stop doing is just shushing up about it. If I see anybody getting discriminated against in front of me, I'm gonna call out who's doing it.
And I think it's important, don't you, Janine, that we do it from our point of view. So I'm not asking anyone now what decision they've made on that medical procedure. And I'm not stopping hugging people. In fact, you and I spoke, I can remember a long while ago, saying we weren't huggers. I'm actually more of a hugger now than I ever have been, just on principle, for just to do it. And I'm not going to discriminate against whatever decision anyone's made and everything, because otherwise we're as bad as they are. It's a time for moving on all positively now in the right direction, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And helping each other in whatever way we can. Thank you so much. Have a really, really brilliant week, and let's see what it brings. Can't wait to see. Take care.
Okay. Hope you're feeling better.
Thank you.